Hi, it's Chris again with another video. This time it's an overview of the DSD sequential shifter. DSD, Derek Speare Designs, have been around for a long time. They're a US-based sim hardware manufacturing company. I think this is the third shifter that they've launched, and this one's been out for 3 years, I think. Yes, 2015 edition shifter, and it's still their current one. DSD, well known primarily, I would say, probably for their button boxes, but they obviously do shifters as well as other components also. Um, these shifters are, in terms of cost, $299 US from the Derek Speare Design website. That includes shipping to anywhere in the world. I'm in the UK. And that price has been the same for, I think it's always been that price, to be honest with you. Certainly has for the last couple of years. Yeah, I've had this for a couple of years, and the price hasn't changed since then. What can I tell you about it? It's a very good looking shifter, as you can see. That's why I wanted to buy it in the first instance, is the way it looks. I think it looks amazing. I still think, for as sequential shifters go, I still think this is the best looking one on the market. That's my opinion. People may agree or not with that, but I think it's a beautiful looking piece of kit. It's made using 3D SLS printing. So made on a 3D printer. I don't know what the SLS bit is. I don't know anything about 3D printing, but that's what it says on the DSD website. And for people who do know about 3D printing, that probably means something. But what I can tell you is that it's, as a result of that, it's very, very light, very, very strong, and very robust as well. I think they say on the website that this will be good for 1 million shifts or something like that, as far as the life of the switches go, inside, which is yeah, pretty good going. So it's unlikely that you'd buy one of these and then need to buy another one. It should be good for many years. It's USB plug and play as well. So once you get it, you get the cable with it, and stick it into your PC. Your PC will recognize it straight away, and then you're up and running. You're good to go. As far as how big is it? Tape measure here is at what, 290 mil, which is about bang on. So it's a nice, it's a good height actually, because if you want your sequential shifter in a more elevated position, closer up to the wheel, which is what I do, having a tall shifter makes that a little bit easier to achieve. So that's good. It isn't the easiest shifter to mount, though, I'll be honest. I had a little bit of difficulty myself. The mounting holes here, firstly, they're quite small, so it's not many bolts will actually go through there, which makes it a little bit awkward. Also, the holes are quite narrow together as well. So that means that if you've got a universal rig, one that's pre-drilled for many shifters out there, it's very unlikely that this will marry up with any of those holes. You'll need to drill new ones or come up with an alternative mounting solution. I've got an 80/20 aluminium profile rig, and I purchased from SimLab a plate to mount this on, which you'll see in I've got a little video clip, and I think that it shows the plate in that. But if not, it just sits underneath the shifter itself. You screw the shifter to that, and then mount that plate to the rig, which is easy enough. Yeah, for many sim racers out there who are very creative, very good at modifying their rig, they can easily come up with a solution. But yeah, if you're going to buy one, just be aware that out the box, you might need to think about how you're going to mount the shifter to your rig. Um, how it works, very, very simple design, to be honest. I think you can see in there, there's two micro switches, one at the front and one at the back. There's one in there and one there, and then you activate those by pulling the stick one way or the other, simple as that. To create the resistance underneath, let's see if I can get the light there. So where it says USA, that's the base of the shifter itself, and then either side of that are two rubber bump stops which create the resistance before the shifter clicks onto one of the micro switches. That's how they achieve the resistance. It works, it's fine. It's not ideal for me. Now, I've never driven a car with a proper sequential shift. I do race on the sim in quite a few sequential shift cars, mainly the V8 supercars on iRacing is probably the most common one. And for me, the feel of it, could be better. An ideal shift for me, in my mind, would be that you would grab the shifter, you would pull back, you would get resistance, and then there would be a final sort of clunk, and at that point the gear engages, and obviously the same for downshifts as well. With this, let me see if I can demonstrate this. You only have, so you can hear the click of the micro switch there. So you've got resistance, but there's no sort of clunk at the end. So it's missing that final stage of the motion, if that makes sense. That's what I would want from a sequential shifter in an ideal world, but I suppose you get what you pay for, and I know that there are manufacturers out there now who do make sequential shifters that you can offer that complete feeling. I know they're a different price point as well, though, so like I say, you do get what you pay for. This at $300 US is, I think it's pretty good value considering how long it'll last and the resale value on them as well. You know, you could dump $300 into one of these, and then if you get bored of it, sell it a year or two later, and you'll get, you know, a good portion of that back. So it's certainly still a good buy. The other shifters that I'm referring to there, I think there's the manufacturing shifter. There's a Race X one. You know, you're looking at least probably double, or best part of double the price. I haven't checked recently actually, but certainly a lot more money than one of these. But for me, the best thing about this shifter is the way that it looks. That's what drew me to it in the first place. I think it's a stunning looking shifter. I think it's the best looking one on the market. I think it looks great. But yeah, for me, the downsides to it are it's difficult to mount. The feel is okay, but it lacks that clunk. And the other thing as well is that it's quite difficult to find replacement knobs for the shifter as well. How can I explain this? So the size of that thread there is, I forget what it is now, but it's listed on somewhere on the DSD website. All the suppliers that I could find for universal replacement gear knobs, they measure they offer the measurements in metric, which DSD don't do. So it's hard to find a replacement gear knob supplier that offer a replacement shift knob in the size that DSD say that is, if you know what I mean. I just think it could be a little bit easier. That's a minor bugbear, as it turns out. As you can see, I haven't even replaced it anyway. It's just a point to make. It's quite difficult to find out exactly what size you need. But all in all, I've had it a couple of years. I'm pretty pleased with it. It's probably a 7 out of 10 for me. Like I say, the feel of it is a bit of a it's a bit of a drawback. I tend to use this as well. It doubles up as a bit of a handbrake if I'm doing, you know, any rallycross or anything like that on iRacing. I'll use the paddles on the wheel for the gears, and I'll use this as a handbrake, and you know that works well for that as well. Bit tricky to mount, but for me, the way that it looks, you know, makes up for all of those things. I just think it looks great stood on its own like this. It looks even better when it's mounted on the rig as well, and it looks like it, you know, it means business as well. So, what I'll do now is I'll just show you a quick clip of the shifter in action, and thank you very much for watching.